Hi, automotive enthusiasts. Welcome to Auto Archive, where today we embark on a deep journey into the story, substance, and spirit of the 2023 Harley-Davidson Street Glide, a motorcycle designed to command America's highways and transform the touring experience. This isn't just another bike review. It's a cinematic exploration of why this model matters, how it was shaped, and what it means for the culture of long-distance riding. Over the next several minutes, we'll unravel how Harley-Davidson managed to refresh one of its most iconic touring machines without losing its soul. How the engineering decisions and cultural shifts behind the 2023 Street Glide reveal the changing expectations of American riders, and how this machine reflects the tension between tradition and innovation that defines the modern motorcycle market. You'll get a clear, unhurried look at the bike's evolution, its engineering in plain language, and the human stories and strategic moves that surround it, so you can appreciate not just specs, but the bigger picture of what's at stake. Together we'll trace the Street Glide's journey from a styling concept to a highway-dominating platform that blends muscular performance with comfort, then move through the deeper currents of how it answers rival offerings and sets new standards, and finally see how this model's impact reaches beyond dealerships into the culture of American touring itself. By the end of this video, you'll understand not only why the 2023 Street Glide rules the highways, but also how its design choices, rider feedback, and brand heritage are reshaping the expectations for what a touring bike can be. So settle in, and let's ride through the full story of the 2023 Harley-Davidson Street Glide together on Auto Archive. The 2023 Harley-Davidson Street Glide arrives at a crossroads of history and ambition. And to appreciate its full measure, we need to ride back into the story of how the touring segment became such a proving ground for Harley-Davidson. Touring motorcycles have long been the company's bridge between rugged heritage and modern comfort. But by the early 2020s, competition from both American and international brands began reshaping what riders expected from a long-haul machine. This backdrop gives the 2023 Street Glide a distinct tension. It must uphold the aura of a heavyweight cruiser while delivering the amenities and ride quality of a premium tourer. Harley's decision to refine this bike was not a cosmetic gesture, but a calculated move to strengthen its foothold on open roads where loyalty can be won or lost over thousands of miles of asphalt. This evolution sets the stage for a closer examination of how Harley translated feedback, market trends, and engineering breakthroughs into the 2023 model. Microstory. In a Midwestern town, a veteran rider who has logged over 200,000 miles on various Harleys recounts the moment he first saw the 2023 Street Glide at a dealership open house. What struck him wasn't just the new paint options or the glint of chrome, but the subtle reshaping of the fairing and the promise of more intuitive controls. His curiosity reflects a wider sentiment. Seasoned riders look for incremental changes that genuinely improve life on the road rather than gimmicks. This anecdote underscores how the Street Glide must prove itself mile by mile. Context digest. Touring bikes anchor Harley-Davidson's profitability and public identity, yet they face a market that's more fragmented than ever, with younger riders drawn to adventure bikes and older riders demanding lower seat heights and more technology. The Street Glide must act as a linchpin between those worlds, combining ease of use with the gravitas of a traditional touring platform. This dual mission shapes everything from suspension tuning to infotainment software. Microstory. A young engineer at Harley's Milwaukee headquarters describes working on the Milwaukee-Eight 107 engine refinements for the 2023 Street Glide. The goal was not raw horsepower, but a more linear torque delivery. To reduce rider fatigue on long journeys, her team spent months testing different cam profiles and exhaust setups to achieve a smoother feel at highway speeds. This behind-the-scenes work illustrates the brand's commitment to subtle improvements that accumulate into a better touring experience. Reflection bridge. It's in these quiet decisions, fairing geometry, engine mapping, saddle design, that a modern Harley stakes its reputation. Context digest. The Street Glide's boom box GTS infotainment system reflects another layer of evolution. Where older models offered rudimentary radio and navigation, the 2023 version integrates smartphone connectivity, faster processing, and a more glove-friendly touchscreen. Such upgrades may seem small until you're navigating a rainstorm hundreds of miles from home and appreciate a system that responds instantly. Harley is betting that tech-savvy touring can coexist with old-school rumble. Microstory. Consider a retired couple from Arizona who plan cross-country trips every summer. For them, the 2023 Street Glide's upgraded seat foam and revised passenger backrest height mean fewer stops for stretching and a greater sense of security. This may not make headlines, but for real-world riders, it's transformative. Comfort translates into confidence, and confidence breeds brand loyalty. Reflection bridge. Each of these rider-centered changes threads together to form a narrative of reinvention under pressure. Context digest. On the competitive front, Indian Motorcycle's Challenger series and certain European touring bikes have raised the bar for performance and convenience. Harley had to respond without alienating its core. Thus, the 2023 Street Glide acts as both an answer and a statement, signaling that the company can evolve without surrendering its character. Its success or failure will influence Harley's entire touring lineup. Micro-story. Out on the Blue Ridge Parkway, a group of riders gathers for an informal demo ride. Among them are brand loyalists, curious switchers from other marques, and a new generation of motorcyclists influenced by social media. They all comment on the i8 bike's balanced handling in sweepers and the reduced heat from the engine in slow traffic. These impressions spread quickly online, shaping perceptions beyond traditional reviews. As we trace these layers of engineering, rider feedback, and market positioning, we move naturally into a deeper understanding of how the 2023 Street Glide's specific upgrades form a larger strategy that will define Harley-Davidson's presence on the open road for years to come. At this point, the 2023 Harley-Davidson Street Glide is more than a collection of upgrades. It's a statement about how a legacy manufacturer navigates a shifting landscape. And understanding that means looking at the forces that shaped it from within and without. The touring motorcycle market has become a crucible of expectations, from emission standards and infotainment integration, to ride quality that must satisfy both veteran riders and newcomers who grew up with smartphones. The Street Glide had to meet those expectations. Without losing the intangible aura that makes a Harley feel like a Harley, this tension invites a closer look at the choices Harley made, the pressures it faced, and the reactions it has sparked. Micro-story. In a development center tucked away near Milwaukee, a design team debated whether to keep the Batwing fairing shape untouched or subtly adjust it for better aerodynamics. The engineers produced wind tunnel data showing reduced buffeting with a slight change, while designers argued for preserving the silhouette. The compromise was a refined curvature that delivers smoother airflow while maintaining the instantly recognizable profile. This micro-battle reflects the broader struggle between tradition and performance that defines the 2023 Street Glide. Context digest. Environmental regulations and noise limits have tightened over the last decade, forcing large displacement V-twin engines to evolve. Harley's answer with the Milwaukee-Eight series was to create a cleaner, cooler-running, more efficient engine without eroding the distinctive pulse and sound that riders value. This balancing act is evident in the Street Glide's refined exhaust tone and improved fuel economy, showing how engineering decisions ripple outward into brand perception. Micro-story. A dealership manager in Texas recalls the first shipment of 2023 Street Glides arriving alongside rival models. He noticed customers drawn not only by brand loyalty, but by curiosity about whether the new infotainment system and ergonomics matched the hype. Test rides quickly became reservations, and reservations turned into orders. The bike's ability to convert interest into sales demonstrates how well Harley gauged the touring market's priorities. Reflection bridge. Here the Street Glide becomes less a motorcycle and more a barometer of how much innovation the Harley community is willing to embrace. Context digest. Technology has always been a double-edged sword for Harley-Davidson. Some riders fear that too much gadgetry dilutes the mechanical purity of motorcycling, while others welcome features like adaptive cruise control or advanced audio systems. The 2023 Street Glide walks that line by packaging tech into a rider-focused interface rather than a flashy distraction. This approach allows it to compete with high-tech imports while still feeling authentic. Micro-story. Across country. Rider from Florida reports his longest day yet, over 100 miles in one push on the new Street Glide. He credits the refined suspension and saddle for arriving less fatigued than on previous bikes. His story, shared in an online forum, fuels a wave of peer-to-peer endorsements that no ad campaign could buy. Such organic advocacy shows the stakes Harley faced in getting the ergonomics right. Reflection bridge. Each of these stories, digests, and design choices forms a mosaic of how the Street Glide has evolved under intense scrutiny. Micro-story. Out west in California, a group of younger riders hosts a touring meetup featuring both adventure bikes and the new Street Glide. They compare notes on luggage capacity, wind protection, and app-based navigation. What surprises them is how seamlessly the Harley system integrates with their digital habits, easing their skepticism about big cruisers. This moment hints at a cultural opening for Harley into demographics it struggled to reach before. Context digest. Dealers across the US report. A subtle shift. The Street Glide is drawing in not just the traditional rider, but also partners, friends, and even adult children of Harley owners, suggesting a multi-generational interest. If sustained, this could fortify Harley's touring segment for years to come, turning a single model refresh into a broader brand revival. Micro-story. Meanwhile, in the upper Midwest, an independent mechanic notes that the 2023 Street Glide's service intervals and ease of maintenance are improved over previous years. He sees fewer overheating complaints and easier access to certain components, which he believes will help retain riders who do their own work. This unsung detail strengthens trust among hands-on enthusiasts who value reliability, as these layers of engineering, regulation, and cultural reception converge. We're left with a portrait of a bike that is as much about navigating change as it is about dominating highways. And that brings us to the final dimension of our exploration, how the 2-3 Street Glide's influence extends beyond the showroom floor, into the wider touring culture, and what that means for the future of Harley-Davidson's identity. The 2023 Harley-Davidson Street Glide now stands not only as a refined machine, but as a cultural touchstone that reflects the evolving identity of American touring. Its blend of muscle, comfort, and technology signals a future in which long-distance riding is as much about connection and adaptability as it is about raw power. This shift becomes visible when you look at how the bike shapes communities, traditions, and expectations on the open road. Micro-story. In Colorado, a well-known group of long-haul riders stages its annual charity ride with dozens of 2023 Street Glides among older models. Newer bikes take the lead effortlessly, offering better wind protection and infotainment features that coordinate route changes on the fly. The group raises more funds than ever, attributing part of its success to a smoother, less tiring ride that keeps more participants on schedule. This story shows how subtle engineering changes can cascade into larger social impacts. Context digest. Harley-Davidson has always sold more than motorcycles. It sells a vision of freedom and community. The 2023 Street Glide refresh extends that vision to a generation accustomed to digital integration and on-demand information, while preserving the rituals of rallies, poker runs, and cross-country trips. By blending these worlds, the bike becomes a bridge rather than a divider. Micro-story. At a rally in the Midwest, an older rider approaches a group of younger riders clustered around a Street Glide's touchscreen, showing them how to adjust audio and navigation. They swap stories about first bikes and future plans, forming a cross-generational bond that might not have existed without this shared platform. Here, the motorcycle becomes a medium for cultural continuity. Reflection bridge. This is the quiet power of design choices. They don't just shape a ride, they shape who rides together. Micro-story. A boutique custom shop in Oregon starts offering upgrade kits tailored to the 2023 Street Glide, blending LED lighting, seat reupholstery, and performance tweaks. Orders flood in from both traditionalists and experimenters, proving that the bike invites personalization without compromising its core identity. In doing so, it revitalizes a small business ecosystem around Harley touring. Context digest. Industry analysts note that Harley's ability to modernize without alienating its base may determine not just the Street Glide's success, but the brand's trajectory in a global market. A strong performance here could give Harley leverage to innovate across other segments or expand its touring footprint overseas. Thus, this single model refresh carries outsized significance. Micro-story. Out on Route 66, a father and daughter on separate Street Glides, one older, one 2023, ride side by side through the desert. The younger rider streams music seamlessly, while the older one enjoys the familiar rumble. They stop at the same diners and share the same views, proving that a motorcycle can be both a time capsule and a time machine. This illustrates the Street Glide's ability to honor history while ushering in change. Reflection bridge. In these vignettes, we see how the 2023 Street Glide shapes identity, community, and commerce beyond its spec sheet. Context Digest. Touring culture thrives on shared experience and word of mouth. By making long rides easier, safer, and more connected, the 2023 Street Glide could expand the size and diversity of that culture, ensuring its vitality for decades. For Harley, this is more than a sales win. It's an opportunity to remain the heartbeat of an American tradition, even as tastes shift. Microstory. A nonprofit training program for new riders incorporates the 2023 Street Glide into its advanced touring curriculum. Students praise its balanced handling and intuitive controls as lowering the intimidation factor of big bikes. Graduates go on to join clubs and plan cross-country trips, feeding a cycle of new blood into the touring community. This is how a single model can help renew a whole segment. As the 2023 Harley-Davidson Street Glide continues to roll out across highways and communities, its story becomes less about a product launch and more about a cultural evolution, showing that with thoughtful updates and respect for heritage, a touring motorcycle can rule the roads while also reshaping the riders who travel them. And with that, we've come full circle to the promise we opened with, understanding why this machine matters beyond specs and marketing, and how it cements Harley-Davidson's influence on the highways of today and tomorrow. Every story we've explored today converges on one simple truth. The 2023 Harley-Davidson Street Glide is more than a motorcycle. It's a living example of how tradition and innovation can share the same road by examining its engineering refinements, its reception among riders old and new, and its ripple effects across the touring landscape. We've seen how a single model refresh can become a marker of cultural change. This journey has shown how Harley-Davidson listened to its community, responded to competition, and doubled down on what makes long-haul riding meaningful, creating a machine that's both familiar and forward-looking. As automotive enthusiasts, you've traveled with us from the roots of the Street Glide's heritage through the technical and cultural decisions shaping the 2023 edition and out into the communities and businesses it touches. These layers reveal a company striving to maintain its soul while evolving for a new era of riders, proving that the open road still has room for reinvention. The takeaway is that motorcycles like the 2023 Street Glide are not static objects. They're catalysts for connection, self-discovery, and shared experience. And their impact stretches far beyond the highway miles they cover by marrying comfort, power, and technology without losing identity. This bike has set a new benchmark for American touring machines and, perhaps more importantly, for how a brand can grow with its riders. As you reflect on your own journeys, whether on 2 wheels or 4, consider how the choices we've discussed today mirror choices in your own life, balancing heritage and change, comfort and challenge, solitude and community. Thanks for riding with us on Auto Archive. See you next time, automotive enthusiasts.